I think if we're going to move forward with this, these are some of the things that we would want to know. So we're trying to give you, I think, personally, I'm trying to give you some idea of additional information that I would want before making a decision. I wouldn't want to make a decision and then decide later, well, this is how it's going to be. I would want to know that up front.
Absolutely. So
And I think that would only be fair for our personnel, too.
I agree. The feasibility report is just to say, is this compelling enough to move forward with an implementation plan? And in the implementation plan, we'll certainly be addressing, bylaws of the governance board, proposed way forward with labor, and and all of those aspects with IT, all of the aspects of what we looked for. So you'll have a draft implementation plan, which you'll be able to inform to. But all of the discussions that we've had we've done several public informational discussions with folks, and all of the feedback has been really helpful. So definitely your questions of what's important to you informs our implementation plan, so it's well appreciated.
Thank you.
Mr. Siri, did you have a question on page 6?
Actually, you went by page 5 so quick I couldn't get one in. But anyway, one of the most positive things I like about this is the case study about large scale crime events. I think that's one of the most appealing measures or things to be brought forward in this, because, back with Newtown, you look at instances now with the state police, we can't even talk to the next troop sometime. We're all the same agency. That's what I like the ability to do, is you can get information out instantaneously. And that would be irregardless of whether, it's a resident trooper town or not, if you're all on the same channel. One question I have, though, is would all 3 towns be always on the same frequency for police dispatch? Or would normally, obviously you'd have the ability to broadcast to all 3 instantaneously, but would normally someone be Waterford be on their own frequency, New London on their own, and East Lyme on their own?
Currently, Waterford and New London are the same system, but we're on separate agencies. So we don't even hear New London at all during the day. I can turn my radio to a certain talk group, such as you guys can, and talk to them. How we envision is if we had a large-scale incident, we would bridge the East Lyme system through a patch on the console to the Waterford and London talk groups, and then just simulcast over those.
Okay. And one other comment on dispatch, too, is one thing that we've really seen, when you talk about, this is on page 6, about just going with full-timers, one thing that we've noticed, and it's been publicized, is overtime for just 1 month alone has been about $160,000, because we haven't had the staffing to man it. People get sick, people take vacations. There's mandatory doubles, mandatory call-ins, mandatory holds over for us, which has never happened. That's the thing and that's where a lot of the savings that were envisioned have evaporated. So the concern I would have is 21 enough, considering what you're going to have with possible people out sick, out hurt, or on vacations?
That's a very good question. Actually, Sergeant San Juan posed that to us a while back. And to be honest with you, right now that's what the numbers show. I think in the first year you would be able to better see that. We are looking at the state's consolidation and seeing where we can make improvements. We're hoping to have the correct number of staff to fit that at that time. Litchfield County gave us an idea of that. They have 19 dispatchers. They hired a 20th as a floater for that purpose only. So that 20th dispatcher covers if someone's out injured, someone's out sick. And if they're not, they just go into the rotation and they become a backup. So that's something we would have to further explore.
I had that highlighted also as a concern. And of course, there's a cost savings with part-time positions as well. I know you have to do the training, but in terms of benefit packages and things, there's cost savings there. And I think that sometimes part-time positions are good training positions for people who perhaps decide this isn't the career path for them, or that they would be in training hoping for a full-time position. And I also think, as we used to have constables, part-time constables, it's an advantage to have people that have other jobs and are out in the community. They hear things, they see things, as opposed to, being in a secure building all the time. Being out in the community and having other jobs, they pick up other bits of information and things. So
I think it's important to note on that this is a feasibility study. We're working towards an implementation plan. We're working under a governance board setup, and as Tammy often refers to as best practices. We look at best practices, but we also have looked at the reality of things. And if the reality of things bear out what you're saying, we're open to we want to make this the best for everyone. And we're open to what you're saying, and that's another, as you guys make your comments, we'll note them and address them moving forward.
Thank you. On page 6, I just have one other thing, and this would be the dedicated IT staff. Are you looking for a full-time person for this position?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Because I don't know of any other department that has a full-time IT person just for them.
Correct, but remember now, each one of us currently share IT people. We share with the Board of Ed. The city shares throughout their various items that they deal with that need IT attention. And East Lyme deals with the town hall and
Right.
shared services. What we're trying to do in this, you're exactly right. It would not be, remember, this is not one agency. This is 2 towns in a city that will be sharing one dedicated IT person to this. So if you look at it that way, the town of East Lyme, the town of Waterford, or the city of New London is not funding an IT person for themselves. They're funding it for the entity.
Well, in this report, there's a lot of new, more administrative type positions that are included in this report that do not currently exist, which obviously is a big cost factor. So,
In the IT world, right now we have a part-time IT person that comes from the Board of Ed. We have 21 brand new MDTs.
mhm.
He's been working on one for 2 weeks, and he just can't dedicate that time. And we've noticed, and they've even told us, we are the full-time service for them, because you have 21 MDTs out in the cars. They're exposed to the elements, the environments of the changes of the seasons. And they would love to give us somebody full-time, they just can't because they fall under the Board of Ed. We recognize that, as well as we talk to the City of New London, who does have more dedicated people to their IT for the city itself. Like the police department gets serviced better than we do. But they also recognize that the majority of their time is spent in public safety, just because we are constantly using it, and it's a 24/7 type of environment. So that's why we chose to have that IT person dedicated solely to the public safety services.
Anything else on page 6?
I'm set, thank you.
Page 7? Page 8?
On page 7, under, about 3/4 of the way down the page, under equipment, mentioning there are 5 workstations currently in Waterford and 3 fully functional. My question here is in combination with the idea of what would happen with the other, so to speak, satellite facilities. Would we dismantle the East Lyme and New London sites and take that equipment to supplement what you have? We're talking about mothballing these facilities, and how can you do that if you're going to take the equipment and centralize it?
The New London and the East Lyme centers will remain dark. They'll be ready to go if they need to be, and as far as the updates to the CAD program, there's no additional cost yearly for that. And the thought is, if something does happen that's catastrophic to the current Waterford site, that any one of the other 2 could automatically be brought up and back online and
So
get
the
us running.
equipment is going to remain there?
Yes. Yes. And also, for major storms or Celebrate East Lyme, if the town wanted a dispatcher in their building to deal with just that incident, turn the lights on, put somebody in the seat, and now we've got somebody here that can deal just with that one.
So those 2 towns are still going to have the cost of heating, electricity, I mean,
Well, the
keeping the buildings ready to
the
go.
buildings where they're in are still currently going to be used for other purposes.
Okay, I'm set with that.
Was that 7, 8?
Yeah, I had a question on 8, the discussion of the video, and that East Lyme has a functioning, robust system. Waterford has only 3 areas, and New London's system is somewhat antiquated and obsolete. Is it envisioned down the road that the video monitoring would be supplemented in New London and Waterford and tied into this system? And is that included in the cost?
We're looking at a new camera system, video system for New London, that we're going to do that anyway. Right now, our technology wouldn't handle bringing our current video feed into a centralized location outside of New London. It needs to be completely redone. So we're doing that anyway, so it's not going to be included in the cost of regionalizing. And we're looking at a system that can accept if store owners want to put in a camera and be included in the system. So we're really looking at a completely, a new standalone digital system that is separate.
Would that generate income?
That generate income? I'm
Mhm.
not clear.
Would they
on your-
pay for the service, businesses and things that wanted to have
Oh, it's
their system monitored?
So we wouldn't monitor their systems, but what would happen is that they would be able to feed into our system. So if something did happen, we would be able to have, it would be compatible technology. We'd be able to have access to, to the data. But there wouldn't be somebody sitting there monitoring the system. Yeah.
Ma'am,
But,
if I could-
so eventually would the video tie into the central dispatch when
Yes.
upgrades were made to the facilities?
Our goal in this is that a service that you currently have, any of us that we currently have, remains a service that you get with the regional dispatch center. That's why the public safety data network and its ability to transfer large amounts of data over a fiber network is so important for all 3 municipalities. The video system that you have in East Lyme would be available to be brought up in the regional dispatch center. The video system that New London envisions would be able to be brought up in the regional dispatch center in case of emergency, necessity, whatever. And we want some of your video money because Waterford's not doing any video. I know you're kind of left out here.
Okay. You still on page 8?
I'm set.
9 or 10?
Okay, 9 would be on the facility. I haven't been in your 911 center, so one of the things that I would suggest is that a tour be set up for the board members at some point, so we can actually see the facility. But in your opinion, the facility is adequate as it is for the 3 towns?
Yes.
But if then other towns wish to come in, such as Montville, what would be the implication of that?
I think if Montville came in, gonna move on. I didn't have the opportunity to go, but they went on a field trip to the Montville Public Safety Complex. I was away during that time. But I think if Montville decided to regionalize with us, we would probably look to go towards their center. They felt it was very adequate to support the 4 towns. And I know Ledger is also looking to build something. How we look at it is, if the town of East Lyme or the city of New London decides to build a public safety complex and wants to put in a state-of-the-art dispatch center, they would lease that space from the city, or however it would work. I don't know all the technicalities there, but this entity can pretty much go anywhere. It's kind of like the state police moved from Troop E, D, all the way up to C. Through all these data networks and the fiber optics, they can go anywhere. So if someone decided, or if the regional dispatch center decided that they wanted to build their own standalone center and built that standalone center to increase, they could do it on their own under the governance for it.
Thank you.
And if I might, because we did go on the tour of the Montville facility, that is a beautiful, robust facility. We are interested in the three towns dealing, as we have gone on throughout this, in being equal partners. Everybody has a stake, everybody has a say equally throughout this. Other models don't have that. Come join us and we'll tell you what you're going to do is not what we envision in this. Their facility is perfect. If Montville would like to participate in this under this type of structure, where they would be an equal partner and not receiving funds or dictating to the other towns, that'd be a great setup. We don't believe that that's currently how they want to do things. This is why we're continuing in the manner we are. We are very open to any other regional partnerships down the line with other entities.
We're still on page 9 or 10?
Yes, under 8.0, the second paragraph, could you just explain what this autofill feature is? And I thought that we already had a centralized database that people could tap into, police officers in particular could tap into through the state police system.
East Lyme enjoys that through their dealings with the state police. We are local police departments, the city of New London and the town of Waterford. We do not share in that system. So the autofill, it would be important in this, in that if I've dealt with Roseanne Hardy in the past as a dispatcher, I'm
You
sorry,
probably
ma'am.
have. You probably have.
Hardened criminal. Oh, well. As I type in Roseanne, it gives me a list of who. Roseanne Smith, Jones, Hardy. I select Hardy, and it fills in all of the items related to you, your address, your phone number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that's fine for Waterford, or for New London, or for East Lyme. But now, I deal with Roseanne Hardy in East Lyme, as the slide showed, and now somebody's dealing with Roseanne Hardy in New London. The autofill is available. It's just listing out more people, more contacts. You fill in things quicker and allow you to go through. The more people you deal with, the more robust your system becomes in one spot.
So is this database created as, for instance, emergency services are called, then that name would be entered into the system, and then as opposed to having a data person put that in, the police officer or the fire officer or the emergency responder provides that information and puts it into the database.
Anyone,
Yeah.
anyone can input the data. I mean, we deal with complaints all the time where the officer goes out, he or she goes back to the station. As they put the data in, it goes into the database. We call it master name. And whenever I query somebody, that master name comes up. We look at it as IMC is fairly new, so that's clean data. That can be dumped into the central database. The London's is a little dirtier, so it might take a little time. But the fact that we all deal with the same people, we really do. We deal with a lot of the same people all the time, gives us the opportunity to have that information instantaneous and save the officers and firefighters and EMS personnel time in doing reports.
Just want to make one comment on dirty data. New London's got a very old system, an AS400 system. It's not compatible essentially with the systems that Waterford and East Lyme have. So the data that they've collected over the years would be collected and kept in a master name file. The stuff that East Lyme and Waterford has collected would be able to be put into the system immediately. So all those years of data collection that we've done, both of our municipalities, would be immediately available to the regional center. We would have to do a little bit more with the New London system it may not be economically feasible,
It'll be still accessible.
but accessible.
Thank you. Okay, and then we have the issue of compatibility with phones.
Yep, that is one of the things that we are currently going forward with now in the implementation plan. We have a Connecticut certified, I'm trying to, thank you, a Connecticut contract company working, a state contract company working on the connectivity costs now for us so that we can provide that to you all in the implementation plan. That is obviously an issue that we're going through and working through now.
And
I
does
believe
that
would also
carry
cover
over?
the video.
Does that carry over onto the computers as well?
Yes, it's important that Waterford has a VoIP phone system that we're implementing in March. New London currently has, again, we're all at different levels on different things. New London currently has a VoIP system in place and operational. The data, as it goes back and forth, Waterford has some virtual capabilities. We're all at different levels, and that's what this company, the state contracted E+ is the name of the company. That's what they are providing us with, a network path to show how the data shared back and forth.
Because we've just spent a lot of money
Understood. All of us.
on
have.
our phone system.
Yep. All of us have spent varying amounts of money in different things. Your radio system is a prime example. There's no sense in doing anything with the radio system instead of only patching it in. And that's what we're recognizing as we go through this. Everybody has different capabilities and different needs and different expenditures that we're trying to be very cognizant of.
All right. During your report, you mentioned something about a rebate program, and I didn't quite follow that. Was that in relation to the phone networking or
That was the
the
CAD.
contracts?
That was the CAD program,
Okay,
the computer aided dispatch. The TriTech vendor, because they purchased the IMC program that we're currently using, which is now Perform, is what they call it. You buy licenses by the seat.
yes.
They were able to give us some credits for what we've already purchased. Discounted the price of the program for the regional center.
Thank you. Okay, and under the EMS, standardizing the protocols, I thought that I had, did I read someplace earlier in the report that you had already worked on that, and that you have standardized protocols? 'Cause I
What we,
thought- go ahead.
not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, I thought I
we,
had read that earlier.
You mentioned the mutual aid.
Yes.
Fire and EMS are light years ahead of police in terms of their mutual aid response, their standardized code system, the way they operate back and forth. Police are very parochial about how they maintain their code systems, et cetera. What we would want to happen if this implementation occurs is have various groups, police group, fire group, EMS groups, get together from the 3 municipalities and come up with standardized ways. We've spoken a lot with Chief Kidd, the fire chief in New London, who said that, she was here to address this, but New London has standard operating procedures. Waterford has standard operating procedures. East Lyme does. I think that there's a great ability here in the collective to sit down and say, here's how we do things, here's our SOP, what's yours? That's better than ours. Let's take a look at that and let's marry some things out of that and come up with something that works for everyone, not only on a daily basis, but as Mr. Siri mentioned, on the larger scale incidents. You gotta go to the subject matter experts. I'm not a fireman. I can't tell a fireman how to operate. You get firemen from 3 municipalities together, pick best practices for everybody, the same with EMS, the same with police, and I think you end up with a much better process.
Thank you.
And we envision including the dispatchers during all those processes, because they're the ones that know the most about dispatching. So we'd get their input and have them help in that process of how to send the units and things along those lines.
Because there wasn't a dispatcher on your committee, right?
We've talked to dispatchers.
But there wasn't a dispatcher on your committee.
We've actually
So-
learned some information about in the transferring of calls from dispatchers about if they transfer a call, they may lose that ability to reconnect. It's something that we weren't aware of initially. So we've taken the input and
So the project managers, there isn't a project manager who's a dispatcher. But one of the things that we did was to set up working groups, and there was working groups who are of dispatchers. They are absolutely part of the IT discovery and input. That's not software that I'm going to use. You know, we put the folks in the room, we invited the folks in the room, and there was some great participation. So all along, when we're looking at the different aspects of this, you know, folks were invited. There's dispatchers in the room that have showed up to, you know, all of our discussions and have informed the process. So why there's no one who is the project manager isn't, dispatcher isn't a project manager, but certainly has been an intentional part of the process.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good. 9 and 10, 11, 12. No?
Yes, on page 11, the captain system, that's under the current yearly cost per municipality. That's something that's unique to East Lyme because of the resident trooper program. Is that correct? Is that my understanding?
Correct. Waterford or New London could participate in the captain system if we so chose. At least in the Waterford MDT system that we have, it does what the captain system does as well, with one exception, is that we can't talk across the state to other participating captain members. We have the system that we have, it's not compatible. So that's the one feature that we don't have that East Lyme currently does. So if I wanted to speak to, let's say, an Ansonia officer that was on the captain system, I don't know if they are or not, I would be able to speak with them.
So would you be able to tap into this system and utilize it? Or would it be a benefit?
We look at the three-town model, being able to speak back and forth to each other through the TriTech system instead of the captain system as a savings.
The captain system was designed out of the Greater Hartford region, so it's a lot of the departments are out from the Greater Hartford area. And some, I think Ledger's on it, I'm not positive, Ledger, Montville, but a lot of them aren't really using it as much as they used to. I mean, is there an East Lyme officer? Jimmy, do you guys use it a lot?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. For the IM, for the instant messaging, or for the?
We don't instant message as much as we used to. We used to do it quite often. But if I need to talk to somebody anywhere that's on the system, if we have a question about a person, we use it.
It would be a decision that would have to be made at the time during the implementation, whether or not that would be necessary or not. There are other ways to do that. You can build a bridge from the TriTech system into Captain versus owning the Captain system. So there are other ways to do that.
Thank you.
Are we on 11, 12?
Yep. And under 9.2, purchasing, I see purchasing power for future capital expenses, et cetera. I assume that would have to go back to each of the municipalities for approval?
The region